bless you, global Christian friends. God bless the American people, public, the American government. We talked about the things that God speaks about that you need to know. Jesus had said in Luke 11:17 that a house divided against a house falleth. And how can the whole house of Israel, which is one seed, become the house of Judah and the house of Israel at the same time? We're talking about things that you're not going to be able to see, to know, and to understand. It's not about something that sounds godly. You need to know more about that new covenant of God that I'll make. You need to know about that higher day too. There's a higher day you need to understand about. Not in those days, but in that particular day. And not the lower day, but the higher day. A higher day is always above the lower day and the lower days. And you must understand those things. This shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, said the Lord. You notice that? Not in that day, but after those days. I'll put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts. I will be their God, they shall be my people. You don't need to teach anybody to know the Lord, your neighbor, your brother. You don't need to do that. God himself said, I will do those things. Now, the outcome of the depth of the sequence, of the consequence of the effect of the seed of Israel in its direct relationship to those heavenly ordinances will be determined a lasting effect with God. And we need to understand these kind of things when it comes to the Lord about these, through those ordinances of the heavens, the seed of Israel was determined to be and remain a nation before God forever. Keep that in mind. Keep that knowledge in mind. We're going to get over to Luke shortly, but you need to understand these kind of things, that those ordinances of heaven, which God said can be put to earth, and the seed of Israel are both in the same proximity with God. The ordinances of heaven and the seed of Israel, or the whole house of Israel, are in the same proximity with God. You need to understand that. The ordinances of the heavens and the seed of the house of Israel are both in the same proximity with God. Think about those two things. Understand them clearly and understand them thoroughly, because we don't understand these things because we don't have the food of mind and knowledge to understand these kind of things, because we are basically pointing ourselves in the direction of people and multitudes, and not pointing ourselves in the direction of God. But once you enter in through the straight gate and come into the gate and to the neighborhood and come into the throne room and come into those places where God himself resides, he begin to teach you and show you decisions that you need to take back down to those who are on earth and transmit them to those individuals who are there under these heavens here on earth. And these things are to be understood by the Lord. They are not to be understood by the mind and by the thought of men. And we need to understand these kinds of things. Great things to be understood by the Lord. Who else can relate or combine human experience with divine activity but God? That's the seed of Israel with the ordinances of heaven. Now, these are things you need to know. These are things you need to understand. And I want to make it quite clear also who can How can you, being prudent with wisdom, how can you know the powers of the world to come? If the soul which seeth is not subject to the higher powers which makes us sons of God. Now, there are scriptures along those lines. Let me go back and give you the scriptures along those lines. How can you know, being prudent with wisdom, the powers of the world to come? Hebrews 6 and 5. If your soul, nephesh, Nephesh, which see is not subject to the higher power, Romans 13 and 1, which makes us the sons of God, John 1 and 12. Now, how is your soul, nephesh, subject to those higher powers? But through the image, and that image is Hatselem, Hatscelem of God. You have a spirit, Ruach, Ruach, that's Ruwach. I'm speaking kind of fast here because I only have 10 minutes per time. Which see. You have a heart, Leb, Leb, which see. You have a soul, Nephesh, Nephesh, which see. And you are made in the image, Tselem, Tselem, which see of God, who said, God said this, who shall I send and who shall go for us? Let us make man who will go for us and who shall speak for us. We need to understand these kind of things. It's not about earthly things when it comes to God. God got enough creatures to be able to take care of the earthly forces and powers to take care of everything here on this planet Earth. And if you don't know the graph of the earth, you don't know the graph of the heavens, you can't plot the heavens, you can't plot things beyond the heavens. It's because you don't know God. You know, when you're from above, you're above all things, period. That's what the Bible said. God don't keep you down on earthly things all the time. He made the heaven, then he made the earth afterwards. All right, we're going to continue later on. God bless you, global Christian friends. And we love you in the Lord. Keep this in mind. We'll go through these things again. God bless you.